Hello world, I am Retro Indie Josh, and today I'm talking about Deathchron, a platformer action game by Crescent Moon Games, known for the 3D RPG Ravensword Shadowlands. Full disclosure, I was provided a key for this game for free through Steam Curator Connect, so thank you to Crescent Moon Games for providing that key. So Deathchron is an action platformer very much in the vein of classic Mega Man, but it also introduces an interesting mechanic that reminds me a lot of Blaster Master, where you can actually leave the mech and become a kid to get through tight spaces and solve some puzzles. And once I got into the game, it started me on a world map, and I don't understand why it had the shop selected. Because, of course, when you're starting the game, you don't have anything to spend in the shop. So why would you go there? You obviously want to go to the first level. And furthermore, I don't understand why the shop is on the world map at all, because you can access it through the pause menu at any time. And that's significantly more convenient because you can upgrade whenever you have enough to spend at the shop. The game starts pretty well with a nice tutorial that doesn't stop the action and lets you figure out how to play the game with some signposts in the background to tell you which buttons do what and explain some of the mechanics. It organically introduces the kid mechanic, which shows a lot of promise, and the action is pretty good. The animation is good, the art is good, and there's a lot of solid feedback when you're fighting enemies. But pretty quickly you run into the problem of the camera. For some reason, they decided to make the camera move slowly when you transition between areas. And for the most part, I don't understand why they have to have these transition areas at all, because they don't serve any purpose. It would have been much better just to have the entire level move smoothly. And then the camera gets even worse when you're going up and down an elevator because it's not going as fast as you're going. So it gets very disorienting and almost nauseating. And along the same line as that questionable design decision, I don't understand why the checkpoints are pretty much missable. Sometimes the checkpoints are so hidden you have to backtrack or you have to break through a wall to find it, and that's not what checkpoints should be like. A checkpoint should either be automatic and not even visible to the player, or if you're going to have it visible to the player, it should be on the critical path, so you basically can't even miss it. Because a checkpoint is not a reward, a checkpoint is a way for the player to feel like they're not wasting their time playing the same area over and over again. There were multiple times that I missed checkpoints and I had to redo giant sections, and it made me think that there weren't enough checkpoints. But there are enough checkpoints, I just missed some of them. The kid mechanic offers a lot of promise, and I think it could be the basis for a very interesting platforming experience, but there are a lot of unfortunate features to it. First is this particular room where clearly you're supposed to go down, collect the key, and then go up to avoid all of the enemies and the flamethrowers, but because there's a ladder leading right back to where you come from, you can just drop down, grab the key, and then go back. There's no reason for you to deal with any of the obstacles in the room. But also there's no reason for the ladder to be there, because you can jump back to where you were taking the other ladder. So if the ladder on the right side of the room were removed, the room would be way better as an experience with the kid. Now, I wasn't able to finish the game, but there was a quick drop-off in the use of the kid mechanic. The winter stage seems like it forgets the kid altogether for at least the first half, and there's no real build in the puzzles for the kid. I think if the game spent more time focusing on building from this mechanic, it would be able to differentiate itself from just a standard shooter. And if those design problems were the only problems, I probably would recommend this game, because it plays well, it controls well, it's got great graphics and good music, but it's also super buggy. There are some basic critical bugs in things like the save system. So for instance, this one time I left the mech behind to become the kid, and I went through a door to get a key, but there was an enemy at the other side of the door with the mech, and the enemy killed the mech even though I wasn't in it. So the game got really confused and respawned me as the mech in front of the door, but the door was still open, so I couldn't go back through it. And figuring I could fix this by resetting the game, I reset the game, only to find that my save file had 300 something hours of gameplay on it, and when I resumed the game, it started me at a checkpoint right before the boss of that level, even though I had never hit any checkpoints in the level. There are also a number of soft locks that you can get into, and some issues with the kid pushing boxes for puzzles, and collision issues with the disappearing ice platforms, and the list goes on and on. Deathchron. Like I said, I didn't even finish the game, so there could be even more bugs later on. But particularly, bugs in the save system make me very scared. So overall, I'd say the basic premise is solid. I wish there were more of the kid, but the game plays like a nice old school shooting platformer. But in the end, it's hugely disappointing with the major bugs and uneven level design and questionable game design. I don't recommend the game, and I would rate it a 2 out of 5. Thanks for watching this review of Deathchron. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of my thoughts on the game, you can check out my blog post, which is linked in the description of this video. Did you play Deathchron? If so, what did you think of it? Leave a comment and tell me what you thought. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I post new videos every week about retro and indie game content, including speedruns, ROM hacks, and randomizers. I am Retro Indie Josh, and I will see you in the next video.